I don't want Wolverine to kick my ass. So yesterday I was able to finally start recording the pilot episode of another project I'm working on, aside from the covering all the games my old man didn't get to play. That project is focused around providing free meals for people in the community that could use them. So yesterday was teriyaki chicken, which turned out pretty good. I had one of the people that we gave it to. He's worked in kitchens before. He had a serve safe and everything, so he was actually more qualified than most other people in the kitchen. Which the bar for being qualified in a kitchen is on the floor, so it's not the most impressive, but it still is. He's still head and shoulders above the rest. He gave it a full 8 out of 10. With rice, it was 9 out of 10. So that was good. So, with that in mind, I have been. Yeah, so the reason why I want to do this, give free meals to people, is because I've known several people throughout my life who've spent most of their lives impoverished, living on food stamps and the like. Some of them have even been homeless for periods of time. I want to make sure that I can do what I can within my community, especially with how things are going currently with the economic hardships that people are experiencing due to bad decision making by those in power, as well as just corporate greed. Like, sure, there's some chickens are getting sick, yeah, and so that's causing some issues with the eggs. But that doesn't justify the extreme increases to nearly everything. That's just greed at this point. And so I wanted to take the skills I knew from working in kitchens over the years, as well as my skills with editing, and my camera work isn't the best, but it's not. I've seen worse. Like, I struggled learning how to. I had to relearn how to use the camera on the fly because I didn't have a whole lot of time to record. So I ended up having to remember how to do zoom ins and outs. So I kind of just fidgeted with the camera. I'll have to check the footage today and see if there were any issues with me just touching stuff on the camera. I just kept touching it to see, like, oh, does this dial zoom in and out? And then I realized, oh, there's a knob on the top or whatever. I'm not sure if it's a knob. It's kind of like a pivot. I don't know how you describe it, but it has a W and a T for wide and tight shots. And so I eventually got to the point in the video where I was like, oh, I'm going to start zooming in and out on different things. So with that recording, I have a co-host essentially who was the on-screen talent, more or less. She was the one cooking and such, because I want to help her be able to build confidence in cooking because she wants to become a chef, and I want to help her build up sort of a portfolio slash resume to help make her look better on paper for when she tries to get better paying jobs, or maybe even ask for a raise one day. If we do well enough, I could potentially just hire her on at the same price she's making currently and just have her work on the channel cooking for the community, cooking up nice large meals for people, because she knows how to work in a kitchen environment in which you're making enough food. I think she's done prep work, I can't quite remember. But if you've worked prep work in kitchens, you're used to preparing food that's eventually going to get used to feed dozens, if not over 100 people. I was there as the dishwasher primarily, but I would also help with the prep stuff if I caught up on the dishes in time for when we were opening, before we opened. I would go and do some prep work. I would have just done full-on prep work, but that would require me waking it up at 6 a.m., and I'm not going to do that. I'm not built to wake up at 6 a.m., because that would require me to go to sleep at like 10 p.m., and I'm not about that sort of life. So anyway, I'm going through my notes currently. Yeah, so the chicken turned out really well. Originally, we were going to do it in the oven, but that recipe would have required us to dirty a lot more dishes and stuff. So instead, she did it mostly all in one wok, which, yeah, you can cook a good deal of food in a wok. We put all of the chicken that was available that we had, which was 4 breasts, including some rib meat. into the wok, and it was all able to cook all at once. We were going to feed 4 people, but 2 of the people had already eaten, so they didn't come in to eat. Unfortunately, it was a timing issue where I had hoped we would have started cooking a few hours before, but they ended up eating just some leftovers from the other day, and so I was like, okay, that's fine. So the other dudes got double servings. The video should be up on Sunday the 20th of this month of April, which is funny because that is 420. And you know what? That's a fantastic thing to start with. It's going to be its own thing. I want to do weekly uploads of the cooking show. I might accommodate for that by moving the gaming video, like, not the gaming videos, but like they're sort of like blogs based, not vlogs at this point. So I'll do those every day of the week that isn't Sundays. But on Sundays I'll upload the cooking show. And so that will help, even with the fact that I actually played this game for about 3 hours off camera, just because I was grinding to get some of the the B team basically leveled up. I did make sure to record when I went off and got their secondary classes, because I wanted to show, oh hey, yeah, we got the warrior, and I think I grabbed the cleric. The warrior is for Alfric? I can never remember his name. The healer, no, the alchemist guy. And then I believe Primrose works well as a cleric multi-class, basically, because she can go all in on buffing and healing and such. The next recipe we're going to be trying out for the cooking show is poutine, because I've always heard of poutine. I'm from Michigan, so we're adjacent to Canada, and in fact, during the Great Depression, when our economy was so awful, we actually used Canadian money to an extent here. Like, it was interchangeable, as in, like, you could pay with Canadian money because it was worth a little bit more, apparently, or something like that. The poutine, if you are unfamiliar with it, it's also called, I believe, disco fries or something like that. It is French fries with cheese curds on top, non-breaded, like just regular old cheese curds of cheese, and then you drizzle gravy on top. I've watched recipe videos, and I've seen that Canadians will get really angry if you make it improperly, the same way that Italians do, which is hilarious to me. I don't want Wolverine to kick my ass because I made poutine wrong. I think he was Canadian. I know for sure Deadpool was. He was from Saskatchewan. So was one of my exes. My ex was an asshole. Anyway, we will be trying out poutine, hand-cut taters, though we won't be able to do it with the peels on, because nearly every fucking tater I get, all these bags of taters, they've got, in the last 6 months or so, they've gone downhill. There's rot in nearly every single one. You gotta dig it out. And since I can't trust the whole tater, I gotta skin it and see where the rot is, because sometimes it's there's the discoloration on top of the skin isn't matched up with what's on the bottom. There's also another issue I've noticed, where a lot of the potatoes are just green, and they don't stop being green. I was told they're not ripe yet, I guess, but it's been weeks, and they're not turning less green, so I don't know. I might just have to try a different brand than this. That is sort of the brand, not just like the type of potato, but also like who owns the potatoes, like the actual like company brand. It's considered a lesser product than most, though their ice cream products are still pretty good. They went to a different naming scheme. They used to be called Spartan, I believe. Now they're like Our Family or something, and just not as good. I might have to try looking around at different potatoes. I might look at local farmers who have potatoes and see about buying some potatoes in bulk from them. which ties into the next thing. I need to raise money in order to do these cooking episodes because of the fact that cooking up large meals for 6+ people is not cheap. Ideally, I would like to cook for half a dozen or more people. Up to a dozen is what I would prefer, but cooking that much is fairly expensive, and I don't have I don't have a whole lot of income coming in for that. So I'm gonna be running a GoFundMe once the pilot episode is out to try and fund a whole season, which I'm aiming for 10, maybe 12 episodes, and you need about $500 to cover that. Whatever isn't used directly for the ingredients is going towards the costs of gas to go to the nearby city to get cheaper ingredients. Which, yeah, we can get stuff for like maybe a third off what they would cost here. Though if we can get like potatoes and stuff locally at a good price, we will do that. So we help the local economy. Though we would have to find a farmer that, you know, isn't a piece of shit, which not the easiest thing to do. The roommate was trying to suggest this one person, and while the person that they know isn't a piece of shit, they are dating somebody who is moderately not great. I mean, without going into too many details, he has a reputation, or had a reputation, for going after girls that were either not quite legal or just on the cusp of legal. And while he is around I think he was like 2 or 3 years older than me, still very skeevy, not a great dude, but he's now with a woman who is an adult. Though, if I remember right, he got with her when she was just barely legal. Now, mind you, in Michigan, legal in Michigan is like 16. So it might have been like a 32-year-old dude getting with a guy half his age. Not exactly sure how old she is. She might have been a little bit older. Either way, though, not great. So, tying it back in with what I'm doing, I wish to feed as many people as I can once a week. I mean, if we get to the point where we get a whole lot of money on GoFundMe, I'll either do a bunch more episodes or I'll just scale up the recipes. Scaling up recipes isn't too hard. But what I want to do is I want to help as many locals as I can be able to get free meals on a regular basis so that it saves them money, it makes them feel better. I believe there's been scientific tests that show that food made by somebody else tastes better, both because you're not desensitized to the smell of it as it's been cooking, but also because of the care factor. And that is one of the parts of like love languages and stuff, is that cooking for somebody or being cooked for are displays of love. And I want to help people both fill their stomachs and fill their hearts in ways that they are unfortunately unable to have done for them. And so the idea is the weekly uploads, if we get enough funding. Oh, Patreon. So I forgot to put this in the notes. Patreon, people who donate to the Patreon are going to be, I think the $3 tier is you get to see the behind the scenes stuff. And there is a bigger tier, $15 tier. I might lower it to 10. I was told by some girl that I should do it like 15, but she also admitted that she's a trust fund baby, so maybe I don't trust her. I don't mean to do the pun, but maybe I don't trust her judgment regarding money. Like, $15 to the average person is a lot of money. But currently the 15 one, I believe, is the one where it's like you get your name in the credits. I might lower that to 10. 10 sounds better. Seems better. But yeah, that's about it. If you would like to support the endeavors of feeding locals in a rural area that truly doesn't give a shit about poor people, we have more churches. We have like 7 churches just in this village alone, or like the surrounding area. There are no homeless shelters in the entire county, as far as I can tell. Yeah, we have 7 churches within somewhat walkable distance, at most an hour away by walking. And it's just like, all this money is just going to pay off dudes trying to sell you on heaven, when they're they're part of the reason there's hell on Earth. Well, I guess I'll talk to you later. Bye.